You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
Don't say that in China. You'll get locked up.
Heidi, hopefully I've said that right.
Heidi.
Last Christmas.
Making friends. Maybe a little bit more.
1,000 men of a Jeepers Creepers.
That would be really good.
Konnichiwa.
Isn't that Japanese?
Yeah, I think it is.
It means dark valley. Because they get a lot of snow.
Do you not have names for your fingers, surely?
It is very steep, very rocky, and very dangerous.
So, hi and welcome to the 7th episode of the season of the Whiteout podcast. Yes, 7 episodes already, and the ski season hasn't even probably started yet. As I'm always welcomed by my fabulous co-host, the marvellous, the wonderful, the talented, it's Rob Stewart.
Hi, Dom. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're back on track with those intros after the last two, which were, let's say, less complimentary, but thank you. It's very kind. Actually, I think the past two podcasts, we did were way more honest and accurate, but I'm happy to take the compliments.
You're being modest. You're being modest there. The big question is, Rob, have you managed to get on any snow yet?
No, not yet. A few opportunities have sort of passed me by, actually, this month, and I'm stuck in deepest, darkest Herefordshire.
Worse places to be than that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's true. I was watching the England North Macedonia football match earlier this week. Lucky for me, maybe not. And they're in the city of Skopje, which I've been to, and there's snow on the mountains around there, which is a really good sign for the start of the Balkan ski season at this time of year.
That's the closest you've got to being on snow, then.
It is, but just good memories of seeing the mountains, and just a little shout out to our friends at Shar Outdoors there, just an hour's drive away from Skopje. So yeah, they're seeing some snow, but
very good.
Anyway, it's how desperate I am. It's just like, I'll take any little bit of snow I can, even in an England football match. What about you, Dom?
Good on you. No, I'm not going out yet, but I have some rumblings of some nice trips coming on, Rob. So maybe I'll impart some of that on you into this, because I don't think you know about it yet. So yeah,
where are you going then?
You want me to start already? New year, I think I'm going to head to the Aosta Valley. Summer that I was pre-COVID, I was in the Aosta Valley and love that place. So hopefully they will have some good snow conditions, and I'll be able to pick up myself a nice new block of Parmesan before I come out of there. So that should be fun. So probably going to head up to Pila for a few days with Interski, if you know them.
Yeah,
and then
sure. Of course.
I'm either going to drop in at Courmayeur or drop in at La Tuile on the way back. So that should be fun.
Okay. Right. And I guess snow is looking okay, pretty good over there. We'll get to that snow report soon. But what else have we got in store in today's podcast, Dom?
Well, we've got our usual news section, Rob. We'll take a look at what's been going on around the snow globe, which we've got plenty of news. We've had to even narrow it down this time. Otherwise, we'll end up talking for an hour about news. We've got our weather report as usual. Where's best to ski now? Where the resorts are starting to open up early, where there's tons of snow and where there is slightly less snow, and our usual gear roundup too. And then we have a nice resort spotlight on, would you believe, Courmayeur, as I've just mentioned, that I might stop in there. So that's quite a coincidence. And we have our bucket list destinations, the fabled, the mythical, the frankly crazy mountain rambling between Les Deux Alpes and Saint Chevalier. Where is it, Rob?
Yes. That place called Le Grave.
Le Grave, yeah.
Le Grave.
So there we go. That's what we've got coming up in this episode.
Okay. Right, what are we going to do before the news, Dom? Something very important.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, Rob, time to mention today's sponsor, Ski Independence and Canada's Alberta. The team at Ski Independence have been sending customers to Alberta ski resorts for almost 30 years. With oodles of personal experience, they know all the best places to stay, the best travel options, and everything in between. From Banff's best après-ski locations, easy for you to say, to breathtaking scenery at Lake Louise, or how to get the best out of a multi-centre itinerary. They're highly recommended road tripping to the spectacular Icefields Parkways between Lake Louise and Jasper for an experience like no other. So, listeners, visit ski-i.com/Alberta to find out more about booking Canada's Alberta with tailor-made specialist Ski Independence. Lift tickets in Jasper's Marmot Basin are half price until the end of November. And can you believe, Rob, Ski Independence I booked one of my very first ski holidays with them, and I've only just remembered that. Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh really?
I went to
Where did
Whistler
you go?
with them. 2 weeks
on one of your first ski holidays to Whistler.
Yeah, as you do. 2 weeks as well. I mean,
oh my God.
And I was 2 weeks in the Fairmont Chateau. It snowed almost every day. I think I came back about a stone heavier with the fabulous food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's only just jogged my memory here that it was Ski Independence that took me there, which was fantastic.
2 weeks. 2 weeks in Whistler in the Fairmont Chateau, did you say?
That's it.
Booked through Ski Independence. That's why they must love you so much. I mean, you're the best customer. Remember that guy, Dom Killinger, who booked that 2-week holiday with us? You probably kick-started their business for them.
Yeah, probably did. It was a great trip. I felt very well.
No, they've been going 30, couldn't have been 30 years ago, but anyway.
It wasn't 30 years ago, but I reckon it could have been 15, 17 years ago. Yeah. So
I'm sure it was. All right. Anyway, enough of you bragging about all those great ski trips you've managed to get on over the years.
I've got a lot more to come. A lot more to come.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. I'm sure you have. Right. Okay, Dom, kick the news off for us.
The news. So a new rail strategy is launched intending to increase train services from the UK to the French Alps. Obviously, we heard last week about people saying that they would travel to the Alps more if there was more train services. So there's been a lot of news and discussion around train travel this year for obvious reasons. And we can see from the recent data that skiers do want to travel more to the resorts by train. But company Des Alpes, that owns several ski areas in France and owns the tour operator Travel Ski, who already operate a train service to Bourg-Saint-Maurice, was direct from London, but not this year. That's another story altogether. Is launching a European request for bids to offer its customers a recurring low-carbon transport service, they say, by train from France, the UK, the Netherlands, and Belgium, from Paris, London, Amsterdam, and Brussels to the French Alps over the 3-year period 24 to 27. Basically, what I think this means is that it's a shout out to train operators to say, look, we can get these trains booked up if you can offer the services. The demand is there and growing, but we need more trains and ideally direct ones to get more people traveling. So this tender means other operators can come along and presumably compete with each other to offer skiers and snowboarders more, better, and possibly cheaper travel by train. It's not an easy thing to achieve, as we all know. I mean, in the UK, we're all restricted by customs issues post-Brexit, although in fact, because we were never in the Schengen, then actually we had issues before Brexit too. So, for example, a direct train to Geneva from London would be great. I'm sure it would be pretty popular, but despite Geneva railway station having its own customs area, it would need a bunch of upgrades, and for it to work for a direct Switzerland to London.
I think so, yeah.
So, interesting.
It
but anyway,
interesting.
Sounds like pretty positive and proactive development from company Des Alpes, and we'll keep an eye on that, because I, for one, would be, for certain jumping on that train if I could, and if it was, if it was a great service. So you can already book ski holidays that include train travel through travelski.com or through agents like Ski Line. So there is definitely options there. It just takes a little bit of seeking out, for sure.
It does, and we know that skiers want to take the train, and I think if the train services are there, more people will take them. Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious.
So
there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity, and good on company Des Alpes for pushing that, I guess.
Yeah. What have we got?
Okay. Well, I've just got a bit of an Alpine World Cup season start update. So just going to focus quickly on the racing side of things.
Okay.
It's a very exciting weekend last weekend. But also controversial start to the winter's Alpine World Cup ski racing calendar. And we're going to kick off with Zermatt Cervinia double downhills, 2 weekends of downhill racing for the men and then the women on a new course that crosses from Switzerland into Italy with the Matterhorn, or Cervin, as it's known on the Italian side, as a backdrop. Yeah, last season, a lack of snow forced the cancellation of all 4 races. And this season, both too much snow for the men and then strong winds for the women has also forced the cancellation of all 4 downhills. And so that's 4 races this year and 4 last year. And it's fair to say that is a complete disaster for FIS, the International Ski Federation.
Nightmare.
For the racers as well, for the fans and for the sponsors. And of course, nobody can control the weather. These decisions weren't easy to make, to cancel them, but they had no choice.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather wasn't good enough. It just wasn't going to work. There's obviously big questions, though, about the viability of holding a race like this so early on in the season, and then also so high up as well. The start point is at 3,800 meters.
Yeah.
It could be the most spectacular downhill race we've ever seen. But so far, 0-8 to the weather doesn't really bode well for the long-term future.
Not good.
I did manage to catch up with legendary British skier Konrad Bartelski this week, and he was pretty opinionated about the whole thing. And he said, well, yes, we know Konrad, but this is what he said to me: that the Zermatt debacle happened is absolutely no surprise. Whoever thought that one could run 2 downhill races, let alone 1 downhill race up at high altitude in the middle of November? Certainly that crazy idea has been an awfully huge waste of money and also of athletes' time. The FIS, International Ski Federation, talked about reducing the travelling for the athletes by holding this event in the Alps instead of flying over to Lake Louise. Yet now the Swiss One squad, he said, are heading over to Copper Mountain to do their training. The insanity of the Zermatt experiment is a sad reflection of the questionable thought processes within the ski racing bureaucracy. I'm just still quoting Conrad here, by the way. He continues, the sport was extremely well served by having the November downhills in Lake Louise, and it is sad that the changes were made and that they have proved to be an abject failure, end of quote. So yes, I can hear what Conrad is saying about the future of this race. It is in serious doubt, that's for sure. Anyway, then we had another new ski race in the Austrian resort of Erbgurgel. That's probably not how you pronounce Erbgurgel. That's another debate. But wow, didn't that start with a bang? The course looked spectacular, proved to be just a little bit tougher than some were predicting. This was a men's slalom race run in the usual format, with the top 30 from the first run going in reverse order in the second. Manuel Feller from Austria stormed ahead in the first run, but all 3 British skiers, Dave Riding, Laurie Taylor, and Billy Major, all made qualification in the second run. Not for the first time, in British ski racing, but again, Conrad reminded me of that. Similar thing happened last season in Madonna di Campiglio, but still, absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, Laurie blew out in the second run, despite the fact that he was in the lead at that point. He was absolutely flying. Billy ended up in 16th place, personal best for him, and Dave just missed out on the podium by 1/100th of a second.
Unbelievable.
That is incredible. Second home for Dave, as he calls it, Erbgurgel. And the Gurgle. Congrats to the Austrian triple, though, 1, 2, and 3, with Manuel Feller taking top spot, then Marcus Fort and Michael Matt just pipping Dave to that third place spot. Right now, Great Britain is in the overall 4th in the world rankings for alpine ski racing. That won't last for long, but it's an incredible achievement. Yeah. But then, well, yes, I don't know if you've heard about this, Dom. What happened just before the end of the race? 5 races to go. Yeah. Climate activists run onto the finish area, spraying orange paint across the snow. This obviously disrupted the race. They were dragged away by security and police, but it wasn't a nice scene to watch. In the middle of that, Norwegian ski racer Henrik Kristoffersen, who we interviewed last year, if you remember that, decided to take on some of the activists himself.
Nice.
It was, yes, I suppose, it was an impressive display of attempted violence against these people. And when I say impressive, I'm not condoning the violence in any way. It's just he tried to take them on single-handedly and had to be held back by security. He was clearly very angry and frustrated. I think I would be too. Obviously, we understand there's a huge climate challenge, but there is, probably better ways, debatable, right? Better ways to voice this kind of thing than putting people in danger, essentially, which is what the group did one way or another. Yeah, they obviously got some attention, so I don't know, but anyway, it's not great to see. But let's hope we don't see more of that through the winter. But
yeah, absolutely
tricky. Anyway, quick mention also for Luca Carrick-Smith, 18-year-old rising star that won a national junior Austrian race this weekend. Big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
His 2 brothers, Freddie and Zach, are hot on his heels as well. Yeah. And Molly Butler, she managed a 10th place in the girls' race as well. So, really encouraging results for British ski racing.
Fantastic, isn't it? We really do churn out some incredible talent. And I don't know how much it's on the radar of the British public, but, it's quite incredible, really, in a nation. We're a relatively flat nation, aren't we? In comparison with the Alps, and to be turning out some of these races is just phenomenal.
It is, and we've managed to do that through the years, haven't we? And it's testament to, I think just the way we feel in this country about skiing, and maybe some of the history that we've got, and people that have been there, at the top of ski racing before, that maybe spur others on.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be good to hear from listeners to know whether they are, how interested they are in ski racing, and whether, I don't know what the viewing numbers of things like Ski Sunday and stuff like that are now, but how engaged people are. Yeah, I'm sure they are. So yeah, be good to hear. If anybody fancies writing in, hello@inthesnow.com to tell us, what do you think of ski racing? Do you want to get more news out of us about that? Because we could get in experts that talk to us every week about ski racing if we wanted to. So yeah, it'd be good to know. So what else?
Dom.
Yep, Black Friday deals today is Black Friday, I believe.
Yes, it is.
This is the time we can mention some of those deals. They're right here now, loads on our doorstep. So it's a good time to jump in and book a ski trip, I'd say. We can't mention them all, but there are offers out there, a number of offers right now. We've got a chunk on the website at inthesnow.com. Dare I give a plug there? We publish some of the best Black Friday deals and discounts that come out. So one that I've got here, Peak Retreats, 10% off perfectly located Alexan in Samoa. £473 per person, including Eurotunnel crossing for a car. Off ends November the 30th. So that's a pretty cool one.
I just butt in there because you pronounce Samoan perfectly, Dom.
Thank you.
Samoan, perfect pronunciation of what a lot of people would look at and go Samoan, but it is not Samoan, just being pedantically. But you're spot on there, Dom. Yeah, very
very
impressive.
You for the compliment. Heidi, hopefully I've said that right. They have a number of holidays with a straight
Heidi.
Have a number of holidays with a straight £50 off per person, flying out January 13th for a week with prices including flights and transfers. Sunweb, several deals with £100 off per booking, starting from £553 per person in Les Deux Alpes for a week, self-catering, including flights and transfers. Igloo, up to £1,000 off a booking. £1,000 off a booking, jeepers creepers. So now,
this is true. Because I looked at that, and it is actually £1,000 off the booking.
Wow! So now £1,600 for a 4-star hotel in St Anton. Bed and breakfast, including flight and transfer. So apparently £1,000 discount on that. Blimey, I'm going to go and book that myself next. All of these offers can be found on inthesnow.com/deals/Black-Friday. So just search Black Friday on inthesnow.com. There's also deals with Mark Warner, Ski Beat, F&P Travel, Pierre en Vacances, Snow, that's SNO, and VIP Ski. So lots to look at there. Other operators and agents that have Black Friday deals, also skiline.co.uk with 20% off Club Med holidays and up to 43% off offers there. So that's pretty interesting. Skiweekends.com, they've got up to 40% off selected chalet holidays. We've checked lots of these out. They're all genuine deals, but they do change and they do get sold out sometimes pretty quickly the minute they go live. These people are marketing themselves all the time. So it's worth mentioning. Keep an eye out. Yeah. Lots of deals to be had. I might get myself another 2 weeks out in Whistler, Rob. You never know.
Wow.
So I'll be on the phone after this. Ski Independent.
Oh, there's a story. Where was your first ski holiday? It's always a nice story. Your first ski holiday, 2 weeks in Whistler in the Fairmount Chateau. Where was my first ski holiday? Not taking anything away from Westendorf in Austria.
Of course.
Very pretty little village.
Very pretty
but in those days, they had one chairlift going up the mountain. They're hyper connected now, aren't they, to the whole Kitzbühel one side and Seoul the other side in those days. So one little chairlift going up the mountain. But I was happy. I was happy with the little pension. And anyway.
If only I'd have known you then, Rob. If only I'd have known you then, I could have, mind you were probably 14 and I was 35. Slightly younger than 35. But anyway. So the next story we've got, Rob, Last Christmas.
Yeah, careful, because there's that whole thing, isn't there, where people, if they hear Last Christmas played on the radio, it's a competition that runs. I know my wife does this, and with her family, I mean, I don't understand it myself. It's kind of like they play this game and you're out if you've heard Last Christmas on the radio. Anyway, wham, 40 years since that Last Christmas video.
Wow.
It's a really nice story. 40 years. Of course, George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley, they filmed the video to the song Last Christmas in the Swiss resort of Saz Fay.
Wow. Fabulous.
They apparently needed somewhere high that would get snow in the autumn, because they filmed it in the autumn, and wow, didn't they get snow? I actually just watched the video probably for the first time since 1983 on Top of the Pops, when that sort of glamour of visiting a ski resort seemed like a distant dream for most of us.
Yeah.
And
I was in the Fairmont at that point.
Yes. It was actually around the time, I think it was just before I went to Westendorf. But just before. I think it sparked something in me, that video. And the opening scene of it reminded me of a bunch of seasonaires turning up at the start of winter. Making friends, maybe a little bit more. But blimey, the clothes they were wearing, they wouldn't have got too far out on the slopes for those 1980s clothes. It would have been their last Christmas, I think, that's for sure. But anyway, Sazfay remembers the crew fondly. It's a great memory. I've been there myself a few times over the years, and I occasionally stayed in some of those cozy chalets as well, but I didn't get those incredibly good-looking models to go with it, unfortunately. I'm sure the people I was with were very nice. But hey ho, first world problems.
I've never been to Saas-Fee. That is somewhere that's on my list. Yeah, I know. I've been to Zermatt, and I've not been in Saas-Fee, and I really, really would like to go. So I must get that.
It's a special place. It's a special place, actually. It's a special place. Yeah, it's very cool.
Well, I'll tell you another special place. Another special place. Rob, Club Med have opened an indoor snow dome in China. How about
right? Wow.
Get that on your bucket list.
Yes. So I think it will be, actually.
They have opened an insanely huge hotel and sports complex close to Shanghai in China, and its very own indoor snow dome and ski slope attached. I'm sure it has everything you'd expect from Club Med: great food, high standards of accommodation, great service. There's now 50 indoor slopes in China, can you believe? But this one has been Taikang Alps.
Oh, you mean that's what it's called?
Is it?
I think that's right. It's what it's called, isn't it?
Oh, wow. But this one, it's been called Taikang Alps, and it's big, it's bold, and it's super blingy too, as you'd expect. So Club Med is actually owned by a Chinese company called Fosun and Guangchang, obviously.
Gosh,
the chairman of Fosun.
Easier said for you.
Yeah. The chairman of Fosun International stated it's not easy to develop a masterpiece in 5 years, but like everyone else, we firmly believe that the Chinese people's desire for a better life is always strong, and we believe that the domestic demand for cultural and tourism consumption is robust. I'd say normally calling something a masterpiece is reserved for the ones not actually creating the thing in the first place.
Yeah, right.
I guess it's hard to argue with Mr. Guangchang. It does look pretty impressive. I've seen the pictures. It looks massive. I mean, it does look like an actual ski resort, but undercover, which is
it's amazing.
Yeah,
next to the very, very nice hotel as well.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
as you do.
Pretty incredible. I've actually got a friend that lives in Shanghai, so I'm going to ask him to go there and make a little report for us. I think that would be really nice, wouldn't it?
That would be fantastic.
I need to get hold of him anyway.
Yeah.
And he's a good skier, very, very good skier. So
perfect.
Yes. Shout out to Mr. Newton O'Haro. Probably I always pronounce his name wrong. And in Shanghai, get down to the Club Med. Maybe I can hook him up and do a report for us. That would be really good.
Konnichiwa.
Isn't that Japanese?
Yeah, I think it is. What have I just done?
Don't say that in China. You'll get locked up. Anyway, right.
Moving swiftly on. Let's get
moving swiftly on. Yeah, right. Bad news, unfortunately, from Swindon. It was on, then it was off, then it was maybe on, then it was on. Spades in the ground, we were told. Then there was silence. Now it's definitely off. The dream of a snow centre at Oasis in Swindon that would have been operated by the team from the highly successful snow centre in Hemel Hempstead is over, as the legacy of COVID-19 on visitor numbers and increased energy costs are the official reasons for the project's cancellation, as well as moving on from Brexit issues as the reasons given for construction not starting back in the late 2010s. Planning permission was granted in 2018, at which point it had 270 million as a price tag.
Wow.
Plans being considered by Swindon Council are that the current leaseholders of the site, Seven Capital, will be given exclusive rights to buy it for a minimum 6 million once the swimming pool element has been refurbished and reopened. So for now, it's definitely off.
That's a dead duck. Dead duck. We keep hearing about these stories about indoor domes around the UK, don't we? There's, regularly a story pops up. I might pop one up myself. Talk about building one in Buckinghamshire, maybe. But we keep getting lots of stories about there's going to be a slope here and there's going to be a slope there. In fact, there was one, wasn't there, up Wales Way or something that we reported on recently?
Not too far from me actually.
Never
materialised.
At least you could improve your skiing, Rob. So,
yes.
Moving on to
for words, unusually.
You don't know what to say, do you? Moving on to the weather, Rob. What do you think?
Well, it is looking. I think it's looking fantastic in places.
Yeah.
But where can you actually ski right now? Where is open right now, Dom?
A quick plug on inthesnow.com. We do have some pages that are called Where is Best to Ski Now, and that does keep a regular eye on it. Well, it's getting cold across Europe into the weekend and beyond, so that's pretty good news, and easily cold enough for more snowmaking. So many resorts across the Alps forecast around 10 centimetres of snow over the next few days, which is good. Some areas could get a lot more than that, which is obviously good news. So, good start.
It is good.
Yeah, right now it's mainly the high glacier areas that are open for skiing, but conditions are very good. The likes of Hintertux and Swindon in Austria and Tignes and Val Thorens in France that opened early are experiencing good conditions. Some of the pictures coming out really are very, very nice indeed. The link between Tignes and Val d'Isère is due to open next weekend, which is pretty early. So that means the main ski area will be open for business. So that's pretty cool. What else have we got in Switzerland? Saas-Fee, as we just mentioned, and Zermatt, they're open. And Verbier's been open on the weekends too, but we'll start opening through the week after next weekend. So that's quite nice. A really good start as we get into December, and we'll start to see the resorts opening up their areas with good conditions pretty much across the board. It did warm up a little bit, and there was a little bit of rain that we saw and a bit of melting snow, but it is getting much colder again, and snow is forecast. So that's pretty good. Pretty good for
pretty good.
We are still
pretty good.
Yeah, mid to end of November,
What about Norway? I've seen some great pictures coming out of there.
Yeah, pretty fantastic conditions in Norway and Sweden right now. The resort of Hafjell is open, just a 2-hour train journey from Oslo. I must do that, and I've not done that.
Yet. Great thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you're pretty experienced on that. You know Norway pretty well, don't you?
Well, I know that area pretty well. That train, that Oslo train up to Lillehammer. Yeah,
I bet that's good. So conditions look incredible. The rest of Scandinavia too, with cold weather moving in. Mørkdalen on the west coast is forecasting around 15 centimetres of snow this weekend on top of a base, and temperatures are due to drop to about -15 or lower. And that's on the west coast. By next week, the maximum temperature in the town of Lillehammer will be -10 with sunny skies. Oh, you can imagine that must be lovely.
Oh, yeah.
So, pretty good.
Yeah, nice and cold. Great. And Mørkdalen, I think that they get more snow than anywhere else in Europe, I've been told.
Oh, wow.
On that west coast of Norway. Yeah. And Mørkdalen, or whatever however you pronounce it, but I think in English it means dark valley. Because they get a lot of snow. Great powder, apparently. Anyway, What about North America? Nice. How's that looking? North
America, well, they have had some snow in Colorado and temperatures are dropping. It's looking a little dry and sunny over there next week or so with a little bit of snow forecast. Same in Montana. They're probably looking at getting a bit more snow as we get into the other side of Thanksgiving. But the East Coast area seems to be getting really cold and snowy, weathering with Killington expecting around 30 centimetres in the next week. It's really good news for the East Coast after a pretty average winter last year. Up in Canada, things are looking pretty good in Banff already. They look good where I was last year. Cold and dry conditions again this week. Whistler, the same, but they are expecting heavy snow by the end of next week, which is good. So, we've got somebody going out to Whistler in a week's time, so we'll get a live report of exactly what it's like on the ground.
Fantastic. Right.
So that should be interesting to see as well.
And what about Japan? Because we heard that it was really, really warm there recently.
Yeah, it was. But the good news is that the North Island of Hokkaido has cold. It's got a lot colder, and there's some snow forecast with more forecast over the coming weeks. So the likes of Niseko will start to look good. It's still a bit mild down in Hakuba, so they haven't had the best start to the winter yet. But there is snow forecast for next week, and potentially, you know what it's like over there, they could get quite a lot.
Right.
Interesting start to the season for them.
Well, that's a great roundup, Dom. Thanks. Yeah, I think certainly looking positive in Europe. And I was checking the weather maps out myself. It is good to see those sort of low pressure fronts piling in instead of that high that we had last year. That's what stopped the snow.
Yeah.
And those low pressure fronts with cold temperatures as well, and it feels like this season could be a big one.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's get out skiing. So excited.
Yes, very excited. This time next week, Dom. That's all I'm saying.
You're going to be out there?
Well, yes. I'm saying yes.
You're not sure where, not sure how, but you are going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, here.
As you're heavily involved with our gear reviews, Rob, and you're very good on the gear side, what have we got? Are you going to kick us off?
I can kick us off. Very, very quickly, for our listeners that can't see it, I'm just going to do a very quick shout out for Snow Fennell, because I just got one of their jumpers. And
I've already commented on it, Rob.
Because you had one. You had one.
Yeah, but it didn't look, I mean, mine looks good, but yours looks about 10% better.
Oh, well.
Looks really nice.
So if you do go to the In the Snow YouTube channel, you can actually see me wearing the Snow Fennell jumper on the video camera. So yes, it's rather smart. I must say.
It is.
It's rather smart. Anyway, that's not a planned thing for this podcast, but I just thought I'd mention it because I got it yesterday. Anyway,
do we have anything planned? Is anything planned in this podcast? You clearly have a plan and you never told me about it.
Sorry.
Yes.
Right. No, so shall I kick things off with Eco Ski? A little story from Eco Ski here. Actually, no, let me say that again because that doesn't sound right. It's a pretty big story from Eco Ski. I don't think that sounds right either. Hang on a second. No, seriously. We have a story from Eco Ski about plus sizes for ski gear. Yeah. So new to hire or to purchase for this winter season, ecoski.co.uk. You've got ski wear sized across the board from triple XS, so really small, to 4XL for women, and from XS extra small to 4XL for men. Wow! So right across the board, so it's sizes for everybody. And they say this: by stocking these much needed inclusive sizes in ski wear, we are cementing our position as a platform that wants to encourage change across the industry. And that's Eco Ski founder Rachel Westbrook. He also goes on to say 2 in 3 adults in Britain are larger than the sizes we see on all ski brand models. Yet there are limited options available for any one plus size, taller or shorter than this, for proper technical ski kit. She also says this: by offering these extensive ranges this winter, we are not only changing the way we approach shopping and acquiring / wasting of ski wear, but also to be inclusive of everyone. This winter, we are stocking plus size ski wear from Meyer Sports and Halti, but haven't found any other larger sizes in other sustainable ski brands. So there you go, other ski brands.
Yeah.
And we want to take this opportunity to call on the ski industry to start.
Interesting.
Right.
So ecoski.co.uk, they're all about hiring ski wear. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, hiring ski wear and recycling ski wear.
Yeah, rather than people just going out and buying new kit every year. That's good. So this week, Rob, I got my hands on heated gloves and socks, the ultimate solution for those people who really do suffer with cold hands and feet or even cold bodies. Heat Performance. So they quite amazing kit. I got hold of these and I tried them out in the snow centre at Hemel Hempstead last week, which is, to be fair, it's pretty cold. Once you've been in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to walk out there and go, oh, it's cold. But once you've been standing there for sort of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's pretty cold if you're not skiing. And so I did that. I went and stood out there for half an hour, got myself cold, properly cold. I was doing something. I wasn't just standing there like a lemon. And I took out some Heat Performance gloves and I thought, actually, I am getting pretty cold. I'm going to put those gloves on just to keep my hands working. Wow, they were fantastic. They've got a high performance battery. I think it's a 5 amp battery, which is a higher performance battery than all the other heated gloves and socks out there, which give you up to 7.5 and sometimes up to 10 hours, depending on the setting you put it on. Wow, I had warm hands within, I am talking probably under a minute or so. You can set the power, so you can have it on low power, medium power, high power. They do gloves, they do socks, very slick little system. You just slip a tiny little battery pack in, a little button on the side, and I think it's 3 or 4 hours to recharge the batteries.
Okay.
And that gives you 7, 8, 9 hours of heating time. They also do, so you've got the gloves and you've got the socks, but they also do a body suit. So if you're one of those people that you love skiing, but you just hate being cold, well, this lad put it on. Wow, he said it was fantastic. He just said as soon as it was like a base layer, but heated, and it had a little pocket on the waist. And, he said, I am not taking this off. He's an instructor at the snow centre at Hemel.
Okay.
And he's about to go out and do some instruction out in Japan as well. And he said, this is an absolute game changer. So heated socks, heated gloves, and heated bodysuits from the fabulous Heat Performance. So well worth checking them out. So £150 for the gloves, £100 for the socks, and £200 if you want the full bodysuit. So well worth looking up. Heat Performance UK.
Right. I mean, that is a good investment. And interesting you mentioned ski instructors there, because obviously as a ski instructor, you're out there every day. And often, if you're teaching beginners, let's say, especially if you're teaching beginners, you're not as active as you would be normally.
Yeah.
And you can get quite, you can get cold sometimes if the weather is particularly cold, right? I mean, I always say anything below sort of -5 or 6, it starts to feel a bit nippy, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that every day in the Alps, for example. We know that, but it can get cold. Yeah, sounds like a great investment.
It's neat stuff. Love it.
Okay, I'm going to have a look at some more traditional kit here from Reusch gloves.
Great gloves.
I have got some Reusch gloves, and they
Me
are
too.
fantastic.
Me too.
And they're the sort of, they call the lobster shaped ones are brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, this is an icon revisited apparently after being
lobster shaped gloves.
Is it lobster? I think it's lobster.
Is it the lobster grip?
Back.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
We're doing the action, but no one can see it.
Or the action of a lobster.
Yeah. We're all doing the lobster.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? Because it is.
Yeah.
It is a lobster.
I like that lobster thing because you get the the finger
too.
and the thumb, don't you? But the rest of them are all toasty together. Yeah.
You get the index finger and the thumb separately, and then your 3 other fingers, whatever they're called, in one little mitten, and then it's like a lobster.
Whatever they're called. Do you not have names for your fingers? Surely.
I don't call them anything in particular. No, I don't. So anyway,
moving on to
for many years, the Down Spirit model has been updated for even more comfort, and it's featuring a premium natural down insulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a high-quality Gore-Tex waterproof and windproof insert with a technical soft shell base with a resistant goatskin leather. So properly good technical gloves. They keep the hands really comfortably warm and dry, and even in the harshest weather conditions. So they've got a Gore-Tex membrane, which is waterproof and windproof, and a natural feather down insulation, which offers really, really good warm to weight ratio. Very soft and light and fluffy. Goatskin leather palm, very tough, very flexible as well. And then a shell, which is a sort of soft shell, premium soft shell. So you really, really nice looking glove, this one from Reusch. Lots of other features as well, like a heating pocket. So you can put a little heater thing in there, adjustable wristband strap, leashes, powder cuffs. £150, that sort of top end price point for a very, very good off-piste, free ride, warm glove that will last you for years, I'm sure.
They're just seriously good glove manufacturers. I mean, like,
they are.
You're going to see them on international goalkeepers. You're going to see them on, the biggest ski racing names that you can mention. It's always a Reusch glove. So, if you want serious, isn't it? If you want serious gloves for skiing, even if you're not doing big backcountry skiing and you're just a holiday skier, Reusch gloves, they're fabulous gloves. No two ways about it.
Other glove manufacturers are available, but I would definitely always say, well, you won't go wrong at all. I would say, honestly, with a Reusch glove. You can buy these gloves from Snow and Rock and Ellis Brigham as well. So they are in stock in retailers across the country.
Very good. So that's our gear roundup for this week, Rob. Very exciting. I love a bit of gear. Love seeing all the new stuff coming out, and we've got some good stuff there, and we've got some good stuff coming on future episodes. But next, we have something equally good, and that is our resort spotlight. And this week it is on the resort of Courmayeur. Nice.
I think we've both been there, right?
We've both been there. Yep. I have only done a couple of days there, and I might try and stop in there after New Year, as previously mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think you probably know it better than me, so it'd be best if you tell us about it. But yeah, I think I was certainly very taken with the place.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there a few times, summer and winter. I've either stayed there, in town, in Courmayeur, or I've skied there by travelling through the Mont Blanc tunnel from Chamonix. It's literally just the other side of Chamonix. The Mont Blanc tunnel. Yeah, it is incredible as you pop out of the tunnel and into Italy. You really feel like you've suddenly materialized in another country within that sort of short drive through the tunnel. Although it has been closed for several weeks as we go into the end of November. It's not going to reopen until December the 18th. Late at night on the 18th, so really the 19th if you're going to drive through. So big warning there for anyone planning to drive before that. You won't be able to get through the Mont Blanc tunnel. But let's start with the town of Courmayeur itself. It's very pretty. It's got a long pedestrianised street. Remember that, full of sort of boutique type shops and cafes and bars. And of course, you're in Italy, so very stylish. But there's also plenty of restaurants. Italian restaurants, of course, right? You're going to eat well in Courmayeur. That's whether you're off the mountain or on the mountain.
Oh, Rob, I had one of my favourite meals in Courmayeur.
Oh, really?
In a place called La Chaumière Bistro, and it was on the mountain. And I tell you, I've got this most fabulous picture I'd love to show you. But yeah, well worth looking up La Chaumière. I'll put it in the notes of the podcast. It's got the most spectacular. I mean, I know you get a lot of great mountain views, but this place and the food was superb. But anyway, carry on. Please do carry on.
Well, yes, and I will touch a little bit on the food as well when it comes to Courmayeur. But the town is quite compact. Yeah, and the accommodation, it's mostly hotel-based accommodation. I mean, there's a few little hamlets around as well, like Delon, which has got a lift connection. You can ski back there at the end of the day, unlike the main town itself. But the normal route to the ski area from the town is via a cable car to Plan Chiquet. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but Plan Chiquet, which is also used to get back to at the end of the day as well, from there back into town via the cable car. It's kind of like a central hub area with restaurants and other lifts spanning out from that area, as well as the ski school that's based there, and there's a beginners area there as well. Sure. So it's quite a nice sort of central point. There's another access point to the skiing area that's closer to the Mont Blanc tunnel at Val Vigny, just as you come out the Mont Blanc tunnel, where a large car park serves, anyone coming through from France, just park there and get the cable car. It's also close to the Skyway cable car that goes up the other side of the valley. I'll tell you about that.
Is that the one that is that the one that turns?
It revolves.
Yes.
It revolves as you're going up. Yeah. It's a revolving cable car.
You did a YouTube video of that. It's very good to see. Yeah, fabulous.
I did. Yeah. So the main ski area, a bit like the town, it's quite compact. Yeah. I mean, I'd go so far to call it a technical ski area. What I mean by that, it's got some really interesting terrain. It's very varied. Yeah. Sort of from wide, mellow runs through the trees to steeper slopes, mogul slopes that can be really challenging. And then there's the off-piste, which is abundant, really, and in places very steep and challenging. I've had some, really interesting skiing in Courmayeur off-piste. You've got to be careful. A guide is highly recommended because the area, it's pretty technical. It's pretty steep, so I would always go with a guide there. But the general ski area suits strong intermediate and advanced skiers. I would say they'll get the most out of it on piste and off-piste. And then you've got the Skyway cable car, which we mentioned. It opened in 2015. There was a cable car before that, many years ago before that, but they rebuilt it. It hadn't been open for a while. They rebuilt it in 2015. It's a two-part ride. As you say, the cable car revolves. Stunning views. It goes up to 3,400 meters, just above that. Incredible. Making it one of the highest in the Alps. It's a spectacular journey to the point Hellbronner, literally the other side of Mont Blanc from Chamonix. During the winter, it provides access to the Vallée Blanche, also ski down to Chamonix, Vallée Blanche, and then back through the tunnel again. Or you can, in the right conditions, I've never done this, but ski off-piste back down to the middle station. possibly down further than that if it's very good snow. But I've never done it. But I've been up there in the summer, and it's steep. I mean, looking at that terrain, it's steep. A guide here is a must, absolute must, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
The Society of Alpine Guides, based in Courmayeur, is the oldest mountain guide organisation in the world. They were founded in 1850, and you can book a fully qualified mountain guide with them. So check out guidecourmayeur.com.
Cool.
So very adventurous skiing, Dom.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. But I actually took my family here once. We had a great time.
Yeah.
My daughter must have been about 8 years old at the time.
Yeah, I took my young children there, and we had a great ski around for 2 days and fabulous food, and I absolutely love the place. And I actually feel like I want to go back and remind myself, because that was pre-COVID, and COVID sort of seems to have elongated your sort of thought process. So it feels like a long time ago.
Yes,
doesn't it? Such lovely people and the great food. Went there with the kids, had a really nice ski around, great food, great wine, great people, and some stunning views, and so easy to access as well, so easy to get there. So facts and figures. Have you got any facts and figures for me, Rob?
I have indeed. Okay, let's run through some of those. Resort height is 1,200 meters. That's good height.
Yeah.
Main ski area goes up to 2,755 meters. So high. That's obviously Skyway is much higher than that as well, but that's the main skiing area, 27. Big vertical. There's 18 lifts. 59% of the area is made up of red runs, 27% blue runs, and 14% black. So good mix.
Yeah.
It can take as little as 1.5 hours to drive from Geneva Airport. If the tunnel is clear, bear that in mind. It can take longer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 2 hours from Turin. Lots of tour operators go there, including Flexi Ski, for example. They've got hotel accommodation in town. Momentum run a gourmet weekend there. Lots of celebrity chefs go along. I know, people like Heston Blumenthal have done that event before, Marcus Waring, those kind of big name chefs. Because the food is important in Courmayeur. If you are a foodie and you like skiing, probably no better place than Italy in general. But certainly Courmayeur has some great restaurants. I've got a memorable meal there as well, Dom. I know you mentioned your place, but I went to a restaurant called Checo. I think that's how there's a little drag left there called Checo, and the restaurant's called Checo.
Okay.
Very close to that central hub area of Plan Chacroute, however you pronounce that. But what a place. What a place. I mean, one of the best meals I've ever had in the Alps.
Oh, wow.
I've had quite a lot.
That's very cool.
Oh, yeah.
We've both had one of our best mountain lunches in Courmayeur. That's interesting, isn't it?
Really memorable. And I went there with my wife and my daughter to this restaurant, and my daughter still talks about that place. She was only 8. She's
fabulous.
Oh my God. Just incredible food. So there we are. Courmayeur.
Very good. Courmayeur. Love it. Just the other side of the Mont Blanc tunnel there, just over the back of Chamonix. What a great place to visit.
Yeah.
And Rob, we both love Courmayeur. Definitely a place to get on your list if you haven't been there before. And if you're a foodie, definitely somewhere to be heading, because we've both had our favourite lunches there. Can't get better recommendation than that, Rob. I can't believe it. We've never had that conversation.
No. Brilliant.
So, yeah, I can see what you've done here. You've done this on purpose, haven't you? You've got 2 destinations that you know better than me, because you've been feeling a bit of an underdog the last few weeks when I've been rambling on about America.
Yes.
Bucket list destination, Rob. You have bucket list destination this week. We are talking Le Grave in France. I know nothing about this place, so you're going to educate me today, like you always do. What can you tell me, and why would I put Le Grave on my bucket list destinations, Rob?
Well, that's a very, very good question, Dom. Why would you put Le Grave on your bucket list? I think, first of all, before we start talking about Le Grave, we've got to be clear that it is a bucket list destination for, I'd say, for any ski enthusiast that likes to ski off piste and likes adventurous skiing. So that's why you would put it on your bucket list, Dom.
Yeah.
It's not an easy place to ski in, that's for sure. And it's although it's in between Les Deux Alpes and Serre Chevalier, which are both great ski resorts and offer huge choice and variety of ski slopes for all levels of skiers.
Mm-hmm.
Le Grave is very, very different. I've only been there a couple of times myself, to be honest. I mean, I'll admit I don't know the place like the back of my hand or anything like that, but
Sure.
I can at least share my thoughts on the experiences that I've had there. I mean, the first time I went there, I got interrogated by a mountain guide at the bottom of the cable car. He sort of checked us out. He came and checked us out, made sure we had sort of avalanche safety kit on. It was quite funny, actually. He asked me, where he said, where do you normally ski? And I said, Verbier. He said, you better going back there then. He said to me, okay. I was like, right. So I asked him if he had any recommendations for the best route. Sort of had a piece map, and I waved the piece map up. Well, it's not really a piece map; it's kind of a map in front of him. And then he pointed out one of 2 marked routes that are on this map, and he told us to head there. And then he said, "It is very steep, very rocky, and very dangerous."
Sounds nice.
And I said, "Oh," I said, "All right." I said, "Maybe there's another route then." Yes, he said, "Of course there is. Of course, go here. It is very steep, very rocky, and very dangerous." So yeah,
I like that.
at least
you can either have the steep, rocky, dangerous route, or you can have the steep, rocky, dangerous route. Which one would you prefer?
Right.
I love
Exactly. And he was right. I mean, firstly, the gondola ride takes at least 40 minutes to get to the top.
Okay.
And then just getting into the skiing area itself, as the guide said, I mean, he was spot on. I mean, it actually involved jumping over this large cornice just to get onto a very steep slope, just to get into the skiing area.
You're really selling it to me.
There was no one around, except we did see one family that just looked sort of perplexed and frightened.
That was me.
They were clawing their way back up to the cable car.
Oh my goodness!
After realizing they should probably have stayed on the nice slopes of Les Deux Alpes. It's a seriously extreme place to ski.
Okay.
And it's seen many casualties over the years, including the legendary extreme skier Doug Coombs, who actually died in an accident in one of the area's famous couloirs. I mean, he lived there for a long time. And very sad.
Rob, I'm really enjoying this.
Well, give me a minute, because I'm building things up here.
When you say bucket list, is it the hole in my bucket where this goes out of?
It's generally probably the last trip you're going to do on your bucket list.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it sounds like it.
No, come on. I mean, no. I mean, I just want to make it clear that it is, it is truly not a normal ski resort. And when we're talking about places like the Grave, we've got to be clear that, it isn't a normal place to go skiing. If you stick to the couple of marked descents, there's nothing particularly extreme about those compared to sort of many of the other off-piste itinerary runs you might find in other resorts in the Alps, well-known free ride resorts like Chamonix or Verbier or Zermatt.
Yeah.
It's sort of similar to that. I mean, I think that time we had to sort of get in over that cornice. The snow conditions were a bit tricky, and a lot of the time you might not have to do that. It's got a 2,000 meter vertical. It's got a huge amount of terrain.
Okay.
I mean, using the services of a mountain guide, if you want to explore anything beyond that, 1 or 2 marked, in inverted commas, routes, is an absolute must. Don't attempt to ski here alone or without someone that knows where they're going, probably a professional.
Yeah.
The village itself is very small. It's basically a 1-bar town. To be honest, probably more than 1 bar, but you know what I mean. Accommodation is available there. You might want to stay in Chevalier or even Briançon and drive up for the day as well.
Yeah.
There is an official website, Le Grave -Lamiège, which is LAMEIJE.com. Bit complicated. Lamiège is the mountain that's there.
Okay.
Bit complicated, but the resort says this. This is what the resort says. Some days you will ski the off-piste routes in Le Grave in powder snow, sometimes in cold and compact snow, and sometimes in difficult snow or in challenging conditions.
Mm-hmm.
In Le Grave, the mountain demands respect, and you need to know how to deal with the current conditions. Every run down the mountain is a new adventure, and every time you stop there are marvelous mountain views galore. So,
fabulous.
Even the tourist office say, basically, if you like tough off-piste skiing, then it's the place for you. If you don't, then stay away.
No tubing part there then.
Yeah. The best way to get there is to fly to Grenoble. There's a few operators offering the chance to book holidays there, including Igloo and Heidi, I saw. But I think even then you'd need to actually speak to them, because they They don't sort of offer your general typical packages. Ski Club of Great Britain run a few courses there. There's a February one this year that's sold out, but a few places on the March trip, I believe. So that is La Grave. Yes, it is a destination if you're a free ride skier, an off-piste ski enthusiast, that you should check out at least once. It is an amazing place. It's very special. It is scary, and it is, you know, you've got to take it seriously. You've got to respect that mountain.
Yeah,
for sure. As a tourist office.
Very interesting. I knew nothing about the place. I've heard of it, but I knew nothing about it. I knew it wasn't your ultimate family friendly destination, but I didn't know anything more about it. So that's very interesting indeed. Thank you very much for that, Rob. We've got some exciting stuff coming up in the next few weeks as well, with a few resorts we're going to be talking about. Some more in the Aosta Valley, which I know is coming up as well, and we're going to be doing a showcase on Les Deux Alpes in the next few weeks, and Les Sites-Loups, which I'm going to leave that at that and let people guess this area. And I've got some cool trips coming up, which I'm going to shout about in the next couple of episodes as well, which could well end up on our bucket list destinations, Rob.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the new things that I've just found out by running a podcast, Rob, is I found that we have an email box with our podcast, and some people have been emailing into a different mailbox that I hadn't looked at, and we've got a few questions from listeners. So I'll quickly shout those out to you. I know you're not prepared for this because I've only just found it while we have been talking. So first question here is from Susan in Buckingham. Can you believe I'm allowed to say that because I'm a surname here? It says, I've got a 2-year-old daughter and my husband. Is it silly to go skiing with a 2-year-old daughter? What would we say to that, Rob?
Oh, gosh.
It's
a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a view on that. I took my children at that age. 20 months is when we started. But just don't expect too much of them. Make it fun. You know, because if you're seriously keen skiers, what you don't want to do is just knacker this kid and give them a bad experience. Don't let them get cold. Make sure they're nice and toasty. Pull them around on a sledge. Have fun in the snow. And then go in and maybe call that a day for the day. It's not going to be your biggest ski holiday that you've ever done, but I do think that early intro is great. I don't think it's a reason not to go. And obviously, one or other of you can go out skiing while the other one looks after the 2-year-old, but just don't expect them to do too much. I just think I see some people, they drag their kids out. Kids are crying and screaming. You sort of think they're probably going to hate skiing as soon as they get to sort of 6, 8, 9, 10 years old. I just think it's make it like anything you do with a very young child is make sure they have an absolutely great experience the first time they do it.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, so my daughter at 2 years old, I did put her on little plastic skis and we walked around in the snow.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't expect her to go skiing though. And it wasn't until she was 4 that she probably had a sort of skiing lesson. And I would say, as a ski instructor myself, with that hat on, you wouldn't really want to sort of have a normal ski lesson, if you like, with a child that was under the age of 4.
Yeah.
I would say at 2 years old, there's obviously lots of tour operators that would be able to look after your child.
Yeah.
In a professional way.
Yeah.
And that would involve sort of maybe playing in the snow, you know, that sort of thing. But why not? You know, if you're happy traveling with a 2-year-old child, if you're happy to travel with a 2-year-old child, why not go on a skiing holiday?
Second question here. I can't believe this is the true name, but he says he's Steve from Stevenage. There's bound to be Steves that live in Stevenage. It just seems funny. I don't know why I'm finding that funny. It says that he wants to go on holiday with a group of lads. There's about 4 of us. Where would you recommend? He doesn't give us any more details. So obviously it does depend on how good at skiing they are. I mean, if they're great, Le Grave, obviously it's perfect. Where would you go with a group of lads to go? I reckon when he says a group of lads, in inverted commas, I've got a feeling they're looking for probably some dancing on tables. Where would you recommend, Rob?
Well, again, it depends on the budget a little bit, doesn't it? You know, because if you want to go sort of low budget, you might look at somewhere like Andorra.
Nice idea.
You know, I'd say someone like Andorra's, and Andorra had that sort of party image, didn't it? Pas de la Casa still has a little bit of that. But the other resorts, especially places like Soldeo, they want to move away from that kind of image. So I wouldn't maybe recommend Soldeo if you want party. If you want a bit of a night, you know, if you want nice accommodation and then a couple of beers afterwards, then Soldeo is great for a lad's holiday. But don't go there to sort of, you know, party. Pas de la Casa, yes, maybe.
The big parties, I guess we're still looking at Ischgl, St Anton, those sort of places. Still, if you've got,
I'd say Ischgl, if you've got a bit of money,
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit older. Ischgl would be a great place to have, that sort of
Party time.
men's party holiday. Yeah,
Yeah.
great skiing as well. Fantastic ski area, lift system, and après-ski. Val Thorens has a lot of. I
Nice
think
pubs and bars.
Yeah, it serves that demographic nicely because the skiing area is varied for lots of different levels of skier as well.
Final one, Rob. I've got one more here. It doesn't give a name.
Okay.
It says, do I have to book early for half term, or can I leave it relatively last minute?
Well, that depends. If you're a family and you want a chalet, leaving it last minute is just not an option.
Not going to work.
Generally.
No.
If you're happy to take what you can get and pay a lot of money for it, then leave it to the last minute. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want what you want and you want to get it at a normal price, you've got to book very, very early for that sort of half-term week. You got to book a year in advance. I mean, sort of thing. You're not going to get what you want otherwise.
That said, I remember half-term holiday, and I got on booking.com. I found this fabulous little hotel in Chamonix. I can't remember its name off the top of my head, but it was the middle of half-term. I only wanted 3 more nights somewhere to finish off my holiday with my family, 2 children, and we booked it. We went to Chamonix. It wasn't too busy. We found this fabulous little hotel, very friendly. But as you say, if you're very specific about your requirements, where you want to be and what you want, you've got to book early. But if you're very flexible and you're very open-minded about where to go, what you're going to be staying in and all that sort of stuff, I think it can be done.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree totally with that. Of course it can be done. And you might find a bargain.
Yes, you might do.
If you're flexible and don't have specific requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Rob, we'll keep an eye on those questions. I have got more listed here, but I think we're out of time. It's a good time to wind up and say, what a great week it's been. Loads going on.
The ski season is actually starting. We've been blabbling on about the ski season's nearly here.
The season is starting.
Because for me, the ski season's starts at the beginning of December.
First week of December.
For some people, it starts earlier than that, of course. But in my head, once we hit December, we're in the ski season. We're in winter, and so we're there.
Very good indeed. Well, good stuff, Rob. Good to talk this week, and we look forward to being on the airwaves again in 1 week's time. Thank you very much, and good to talk.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you for educating me about Le Grave, and I'm glad we both have our favourite dining places in Courmayeur. Have a good week, and I will speak to you in a week's time.
Great.
Cheers, Rob.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No, talkie-walkie.
I'm pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.